Hello, welcome back. What do you think of the new look? So, an important video, a short one, uh, about the importance of PPE when working with mushrooms, oyster mushrooms in particular, which are notorious for dropping a lot of spores, putting a lot of spores out into the air. Now, it's something I have been doing since the start, wearing a protective mask when working with mushrooms for long periods of time. But I guess yesterday I was making a video in here and there was more concentrating on what I should say and how I should come across on camera, all these silly things. And I wasn't thinking about my PPE. Since spending a good couple of hours in here yesterday, not only working with the mushrooms but also making the video with the door open and the exhaust vented into the room as well, I noticed today that I had a tight chest. That's something I noticed last week as well, and I wasn't sure because my kids have been a bit ill whether I had a cold, some sort of bug, or if it was to do with the mushrooms. And that confirms for me that that was causing irritation in my chest. Now, it's something that people are particularly at risk of if they're working intensely with mushrooms. For me, I'm checking on these every day, so I think that counts. Even though it's a small grow, I think it counts as pretty intense close contact, with mushrooms, with oyster mushroom spores. They can irritate your chest. So they call it spore-laden. It is a progressive sort of issue which can build up the more exposure you have to concentrations of mushroom spores, the longer you work with them, especially without PPE. It can irritate your lungs and it can actually become quite a big issue. Usually, removing yourself from the exposure can help the symptoms subside, which can be coughing and shortness of breath, that kind of thing, mucus buildup eventually. But you really need to be long-term looking at PPE if you are going to work with mushrooms. So, we've got a couple of different masks here. This is just, I used to be a builder, so I've got lots of masks about. This is just a sort of easy N95, I think, is the filtration level of it. Easy mask to pop on and off. If you're working with mushrooms, you want N95 at least, because it's quite a fine particulate. But the UK standard is P3. Now this one is P3. This is from, I think it's a JSB Air Force, I believe. I believe the brand of mask is. I used it when I used to do really dirty building work, things that should kick up a lot of dust. You have removable filters, and you can pinch the sides and check the fit, which is nice. So that's the first thing. Make sure to be wearing PPE to avoid being licking and irritating your lungs. Secondly, as we spoke about wanting to get fresh air exchange in, you need to have a fan. You need to be dragging air out. Now, at the moment, I'm just venting the air, the spore-laden air from the tent out into this room. And this room, it's an old stable, as you can see just behind me. There's holes everywhere. There's a large area there. It's very open. It's not sealed off in any way, shape, or form. And I sort of thought that would be okay, and I think it probably is. I think there's enough air coming through here that it's not too much of an issue, but best practice is still going to be to vent it outside. So that's what we're going to be doing. I will make a video, the next update video, I guess, of the next iteration of this little project, showing how we end up doing that. I've got some ideas I'm sort of thinking about today, but basically we're going to be venting exhaust in the air directly outside so the spores don't build up in this room. And that's it really, just a quick video to say, this is important. It's funny, it's not something I thought about. Obviously I knew that mushrooms give off spores. I knew that oyster mushrooms were particularly notorious for dropping lots of spores. But until, I felt that tight chested this morning, late last night and this morning, I guess it hadn't really clicked in my head. That's a pretty good reminder to take these things seriously. So if you're going to be working with oyster mushrooms, especially if you're going to be growing them in your own house, get a good mask. N95 plus, P3 even better, as high a level of filtration as you can. Make sure it's a good fit. Yeah, these are got that nice little feature which I find very reassuring. And also try and vent the spores outside if you can. This also applies as well. It's not something I made a video on at the minute, but we've been drying our oyster mushrooms because we sell some and we use quite a lot. But any excess we have is nice to dry. We've got a dehydrator in the house, a small dehydrator. If you're dehydrating, that's got the potential of pumping up the spores into your house as well. So it's another thing to think of when you are dehydrating. Maybe do it in the garage with the window open if you've got a space like that, or if you have to do it in the house, in the kitchen, whatever it might be. Make sure there's good ventilation to not let those spores build up in the house. Anyway, something to be mindful of. Oyster mushroom spores, PPE, venting, all that good stuff. Lovely. Cheers.